Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the NBL1 Show. I'm Megan Hustway. It's great to have your company. First of all, a big congratulations to some of our NBL1 stars who shone at the FIBA Women's Asia Cup in Sydney last week. A big congratulations to the Opals, a team full of NBL1 players that won the bronze medal. And then we had NBL1 representation in the All-Star 5 with Alice Kunek from the Nuttawad Inspectors earning selection there, and also Penina Davidson from the Cairns Dolphins, who had a great tournament for New Zealand. And congratulations to Geelong import Monica Okoye, who won a silver medal with Japan. Well, it's First Nations Round in NBL1 this week as part of NAIDOC Week. The theme for NAIDOC Week is for our elders, and that messaging will be embraced throughout the round. So make sure you keep up to date with our app, socials and website for all the latest information and imagery around First Nations Round. We know that teams are going to have incredible artwork on their jerseys, and you'll be able to read more about the stories behind that and the incredible artists who have created that on our socials, but also on the socials of your favourite team. Well, there's been plenty of action, of course, on the courts around Australia, so we're going to wrap that up with our experts today. And we've got three big guests. We'll chat to Junior Madut, who is the leading scorer in NBL1 East, and then we're heading to NBL1 Central for our sister act. Well, there's a massive clash coming up in NBL1 Central this weekend. It's the Cats and the Lions, but it's bigger than that. It's First Nations Round, and it's also sister v sister. And joining us ahead of this huge weekend are sisters Renai and Jasmin Feijo. Welcome, ladies.
Hi, thank you.
Hi.
Now, we're doing this obviously online. We've got to keep you apart because you guys are very competitive and we don't want to go too hard too early this week. But Renai, we'll start with you. What is it like playing against your sister?
It's actually pretty fun, I'm not going to lie. Just because growing up, we've always just competed against each other. But it's like, on an actual game, it'll be interesting but different, but exciting.
Jazzy, what about you?
Like Renee said, like we've only played versed each other in like the front yard or just, gone to a park and stuff. But yeah, it's very exciting. Yeah, it's a basketball court. We actually have to take it serious. I don't know how long, that will last, but it should be fun. Should be exciting. Our whole family's coming down, so it should be a good game.
Oh, I love this. So, Jazz, you play with the Bearcats. Renai, you're with the Central District Lions. I guess most importantly, it is First Nations Round this week as part of NAIDOC Week. And we've had you guys on the show before chatting a bit about yourselves, your family and community. What does it mean to celebrate First Nations Round? Jazz, we'll start with you.
I knew you were going to start with me. It's pretty exciting. It's like having, I think everyone now in NBL1 Central, I'm pretty sure all the clubs are getting involved. It's a lot more consistent over the last couple of years. It's just started off very new. First Nation Round has been around, obviously. Everyone is now starting to have a voice, and it's really good to see that everyone's coming together as one. It's amazing to be a part of. Our family is, very much involved in First Nations Round. It's pretty exciting, pretty keen.
Renai, can you tell us a bit about your family history and the land on which you come from?
So we originate from Larrakia, which is Darwin, from our father's side, or from our grandfather's side, but from our mother's side is also Nulligan and Jarwan, which is down in the Katherine region. So basically, with us, we've lived all over basically most of Australia, more Queensland and SA, but also going up to Coopedi and vice versa and everything. But this has really been a significant part of our lives because we've been able to meet a lot of our family across the whole of the nation, really, because we're just scattered everywhere, which is really nice. But it's also, First Nations Round is basically, you've got so many different tribes across Australia. It's not just like, 3 tribes or 4 in one region, such on Ghana land or in the SA region. There's hundreds. And so with that, it's like being able to, like, for myself, learn off all the other tribes as well, and actually understand what they do in their tribes and vice versa and everything, and just learn from that. With our family, like, mum and dad have, like, made sure that we know where we come from, and also, like, just embrace it as well, and not be scared, but have the confidence to be able to share our knowledge and also learn as well.
Love that. I was talking earlier in the show about how much I love seeing and then learning about the amazing designs on the jerseys that the athletes like you guys will wear right across Australia in all of the conferences in NBL1. And I guess how important is that storytelling in terms of what the designs represent and the backstories to those, because I think it's a really great visual way for us to all learn a lot more, about our traditional owners.
Yeah, so, like, basically with our culture coming from the Dreamtime, it's all storytelling, but then also, like, the symbols and that on the artwork on the jerseys will actually symbolize the story and a meaning behind it. So, for an example, with, like, Westies, as they've had the same uniform, it's showing the storyline of the Port Adelaide region and all coming together as well. And it's very similar to the Central District Lions as our story, which will be shared as well on the NBL1 Central page, is literally connecting all the cultures in that area, but also showing where Lions are based, as well as where Westies are based in the Port Adelaide region. So it's like, but it's a very different artwork and different style because it's different tribes, as you may see across once everyone starts releasing their artwork and their jerseys across the nation.
Speaking of jerseys, Jazz, I loved a post that you popped up on Insta over the last few days of you as a little bear cat at the free throw line. And you're really living, your childhood dream of continuing to represent the Bearcats.
Yeah, so that was I don't know if that was my first game, but it was rough, like my first season. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, very honoured actually. Like, I've always been a Bearcat junior, and now, being a senior player as well, and then also winning a championship last year as a Bearcat, like coming all the way through the system is actually, like, insane. Like, it's incredible, and I'm very honoured, and, like, the club is literally like my second home. So yeah, being like I think I'm a good role model to the young Bearcats. So me coaching them, like, I love giving back to the communities, like with Bearcats especially. I love helping them. I love, hopefully giving them confidence, and hopefully one day, get to play with, like, one of my under 12s. Hopefully I'll last that long, like Joe Hill. So I get to, bond with them, which it's really crazy because when they told me that was going to be my 100th game on the weekend, one of the girls that I used to coach in under 12s, I'm now playing with her, which is Sienna Grieger, and she just came back from winning the under 18s national. So it's, like, very, like, crazy because it's like, oh my gosh, I used to be a coach and you used to be a little baby, and now you're playing, like, the same game, like, you're on my team, you're playing with me. So it's pretty cool. So yeah.
Yeah, and you were a baby Bearcat, and now you're a 100-game player. Love seeing those two pictures at the weekend. Now, Jazz, you're a busy mum too. We always like to talk to our NBL1 athletes about their busy lives away from being weekend NBL1 warriors. So tell us a bit about all the things that are going on in your life.
So at the moment, I just started a new job, so that's great. And Brooklyn is starting childcare this week because he is 2 years old, so it's a bit, being a bit delayed with all of that. But I love having him. He's my little bestie, so it's good to have him, like, walking around with me. So yeah, no, it's great. It's nice coming, like, basketball, sports is there. It's nice coming home and just chilling and just focusing on, like, our family. Because Renee and I were very family orientated, so it's very nice to just chill at home, and we just moved into a new place, so it's just nice being away from the basketball court, even though we love it. Nice to be away from there and just to chill with our family and to be with, baby B. So it's growing up very, very quickly.
He really has. Exciting times for your family. Renai, we've caught you at work in uniform. So tell us a bit about your day job because, you do something super interesting away from the baseline.
So I'm a fly in, fly out worker. So currently a first year apprentice and heavy diesel mechanic. So I only get to play every second week. But honestly, the whole time, like even up here while I'm working, I'm also training as we've got a outside basketball court and also a gym that I use every day if it's not raining. And that, but other than that, it's just got to hustle, really, on and off the court, as you do.
Yeah, you do it so well. Now, if you play every second week, does that mean you're playing this week?
So absolutely, I'm not missing this game. I've planned it from the start of my apprenticeship that I could play this game, basically, and not miss it.
That is the best answer we could have hoped for. Let's finish this interview with a bit of war of words. It's sister v sister. Jazz, we'll start with you. Have you got some final words for Renai ahead of the big game between the Lions and the Bearcats this weekend? It's sister v sister.
Just don't hurt your ankle again. Don't get your ankles broken like you did last time.
Renai, we'll hand it over to you for some final words.
All I say is good luck. Basically, good luck to that.
We can't be serious.
Yeah.
Well, it's great. Jazz has lost it. My early prediction is there won't be as many laughs this weekend when these two get out on court and go head to head. They are competitive beasts. They are Lions and Bearcats. They are sisters, Renai and Jasmin Feijo. Thank you so much for joining us on the show this week. We can't wait to see you go head to head this weekend in a very special round.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Round 12 had plenty to offer in NBL1 South, and to discuss all of that and plenty more, we welcome Matt Hickey as we do every week. How are you going, Matt?
Yeah, going well, thank you. As you said, plenty going on in round 12, so can't wait to get stuck into it.
Yeah, let's jump in right now. I want to talk about Geelong as we enter into NBL1 South women's action, because it was all against them at the weekend, but they came up trumps.
Yeah, they certainly did. They ended up playing with just 6 players against Frankston on the road, which is crazy. It reminds me a little bit of my weeknight competition when we're struggling to find fill-ins for a 9:30 game. But you've got to give credit to Geelong. They came home with a 78-69 win over Frankston. To be fair, Frankston also only played with 7 players, but Geelong had just 6 minutes off the bench. They had 4 starters play all 40. It was a super impressive win, and Sarah Ellsworthy, she finished with 22 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. But not often you see teams roll around with 6 players, but they still managed to get the job done.
Well, not too often we see a team bring up the ton, but that was the case for Casey.
Yeah, Casey, really big win against Hobart. They took home a 110-85 victory. They had 6 players in double figures. They shot over 60% from the field, over 50% from the three-point line. And Taylor Simmons, she was the star. She had 18 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, and a handy little 4 steals as the cherry on top. So an onslaught of offense from Casey on the weekend.
Alicia Froling is the reigning women's MVP in NBL1 South. I was going to say maybe only for a few more months, but who knows, because I'm sure she's attracting votes with what she's doing.
Yeah, it was a tough old game for both Knox and Launceston. 55-57 the end result. Knox did go down, but Alicia Froling, anytime a player gets a 20 and 20, I'm always impressed. She finished with 22 points and 21 rebounds in a losing side, and when you consider that they only scored 55 points for the whole game, that's a big chunk of the load that Alicia Froling delivered. We won't talk too much about shooting percentages because they were down across the board. I think Knox shot under 25% from the field and has still finished with over 22 attempts more than Launceston and had the loss, but Alicia Froling still managing to put up big numbers.
We love overtime, and there were 2 beauties in the men's conference.
Yeah, there certainly was. We'll start on Friday night. What a thriller that was. It was one of the great games, and you heard the Ballarat callers say it was one of the better games of basketball that they've ever seen. It was Ballarat up against Ringwood, overtime thriller. Ringwood ended up getting the chocolates 113 to 110 on the road, but just some great plays, stepping up and making big plays. For Ballarat, Jack Davidson, he had 32 points and 8 assists. Tyler Rudolph, he had 23 and 10 rebounds. For Ringwood, Kyle Daggett, he was really big. He played 45 minutes, which is a lot of minutes, 34 points, 9 rebounds. And Jonathan Lawton, who came up really big down the stretch, he also played all 45, had 29 points and 6 assists. The other one that you mentioned was, again, this Frankston Geelong contest. So it was a really impressive night of basketball there at Frankston. And it was Geelong who got over the line in overtime, 98 to 97. But I wanted to highlight Matthew McCarthy because he really stepped up. You have a look at his numbers just in the box score, 12 points, 10 rebounds. Relatively modest compared to some of the big names that got the job done. However, he was the one who sent it to overtime. They had a baseline out of bounds, down by 2 points with about 5 seconds to go. Went one-on-one against Dan Trist in the low block, which is a lot easier said than it is done. He scored that, and then he made a big defensive play against Lockie Barker to seal the victory for Geelong. So 2 great games. 2
great games, lots of great individual performances again at the weekend, and Devon Watson was one of those.
Yeah, on Sunday against a strong Sandringham team, and Hobart got a really great win in that one. He finished with 38 points and 9 rebounds. He shot a crazy 10 of 11 from inside the arc, so a super highly efficient game from Devon Watson, and 38. Anytime you score on 30 plus is impressive. Anytime you almost get into the 40 mark is even more impressive.
Yeah, there were quite a few of those at the weekend. Cold weather, but hot performances. Let's quickly look ahead to this weekend because there's some super crucial games coming up in both the men's and women's.
Yeah, we'll start on Wednesday night. You've got to love school holidays because you get a bit of weeknight basketball. More NBL1 action more often is what we like to see. Ringwood versus Waverley on Wednesday night. It's going to be really interesting. The Falcons, this is in the women's division. The Falcons sit second on the ladder. Ringwood finally got all their pieces together. Still trying to figure a few things out, but we know how good they can be. So I'm going to be locked into that one. Might be a little bit biased because I think I'm on the call as well. And then on the men's division, it's Knox versus Diamond Valley on Friday night that I'm really interested in. Knox, 6 wins on the trot. Diamond Valley, they're flying at the moment, 5 wins on the trot. So the battle of the streaks, we can see. We'll see who can hold on to theirs after the weekend is over.
Love a streak. Can't wait to see who continues theirs, and we look forward to your call on Wednesday. Thanks, Matt, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you. Sounds good.
Well, round 13 has just been completed in NBL1 West, and to discuss all things happening in Western Australia is Greg Heyer. Welcome, Greg.
Well, my absolute pleasure, Meg. It's obviously school holidays here in Perth, so stuck in my daughter's room, as you can see, but excited to talk about NBL1 West basketball.
Well, let's get into it because it is as much fun as the school holidays for a parent, and there was a massive double-double for a star in the women's competition at the weekend.
Yeah, Sarah Mortensen, her and the Cockburn Cougars continue rolling. They went against Perth Redbacks, who may, I always speak kind of teams, maybe not the most formidable of opponents, but 42 points and 13 rebounds, irrespective of who you play against or the quality of opposition. That's impressive. She's an MVP caliber candidate. They'll go against the Willetton Tigers this week, which is exciting. They're on a roll as well. They're fighting for that second spot. We know Cougars have only lost 1 game all season, and so in the lead up to the finals, you want to play against the best teams, and that will happen this weekend. So Sarah Mortensen, absolute studette, playing incredible basketball, and good on the Cockburn Cougars.
Love to see it. We also love to see that the heat is on for second place.
Yeah, you're right. Unfortunately for the Joondalup Wolves, they lost the game this weekend against the Warwick Senators. And in doing so, the competition for that second spot heats up. They're both tied at 3 losses. And it's going to be a very interesting sort of few weeks. Looking at the schedule, Warwick will play Mandurah Magic as the only real, challenging team in terms of playoff consideration. But in terms of that sort of schedule, Joondalup Wolves losing to Warwick Centres on the weekend really puts a dent to lock up that top two. But exciting for Willerton. Melissa Brankovic, mid-season signing from Europe, she had a stellar game. She had 31 points and 14 boards. And if you've got Alex Sharp and Desiree Kelly, positive signs for Willerton Tigers.
Yeah, they are going strong, that's for sure. Let's move focus over now to the men's side of things, because there was a wild finish that really had to be seen to be believed.
Oh, Meg, it was unreal. You know, I switched on the game on Friday night, Willerton Tigers against the Perry Lakes Hawks. Willerton were up 9 points with under a minute left, and I thought, chalk that up. You know, big win for the Willerton Tigers. With Perry Lakes trying to get that top two spot, really puts an issue there. Next thing you know, Ben Purser 3, a couple of missed free throws, and Mitch Clark, geez, he had 40 points. Talk about a guy that just took control of the game. He hit an unbelievable 3 at the end, finished up with a layup. But massive game. Willerton could have really helped their top 4, and that top 2 is huge. You know, you've got the double chance, home court advantage throughout the playoffs. Massive result for the Perry Lakes Hawks, and they go against Rockingham Flames, who are top 2 this week. So I'm excited, but talk about endings. That was incredible.
Speaking of the Flames, there's 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and Devondrick Walker doing his thing. Tell us what he did at the weekend.
Yeah, you're right. Unfortunately, troubled with fouls, so that hindered his time on the court. But I think about 27 minutes, he had 42 points. He was sublime. It's hard to find adjectives to continue talking up Devondrick, but that was massive. Lakeside Lightning have been rolling. Both were missing players. Lakeside were missing their import. Rockingham were missing Tom Jervis. He was basking in sunshine up in Coffs Harbour. I don't know where he was. But no, they were incredible. It was such a good game to watch. And Devondrick just took over in that fourth quarter, and that was massive for them. They needed for him to respond, and 42 points. We talk about that top 2. They can't lose those games, and playing against Perry Lakes this weekend, I know what I'm doing, and that's sitting on the couch and watching that game.
Well, let's finish with that game, and we'll do a bit of a preview looking ahead to the weekend, 1v2. It is going to be a cracker.
Yeah, you're right. Look, I think top 2 is essential. Geraldton Buccaneers are in that sort of second and third spot. There's been a bit of a rivalry brewing for the last couple of years with Rockingham and Perry Lakes for a few years. Obviously, when I was playing, Perry Lakes always got the bickies there. So it starts on Friday night. I mean, they obviously have to win out, and don't want to have to disrespect any teams, but the playoff position is really heating up. You know, there's a couple of teams right now, Kirkburn Cougars and namely Eastern Suns. If they lose these next couple of games, you can sort of cross them out for finals, unfortunately. And with the Warwick Senators winning 2-0, now that sort of heat that I guess comes up who's going to finish the top 4. But Perry Lakes, Rockingham Flames, you've got Mitch Clark, Devondrick Walker, Andrew Ferguson, Ben Purse, and Marshall Nelson. Like, you've got superstars all over the court. So, that's going to be a sensational game. They only play once this season. It's going to define how they sit in the playoffs. So, really exciting times over here in the West.
Such an exciting time with this fascinating run home. I know what I'll be doing on Friday night, and I know what I'll be doing early next week, and that is discussing the game with you, Greg. Thanks so much for your time. Look forward to chatting again next week.
Meg, let's not lie, you'll be having wine and cheese with the GOAT, Lauren Jackson, but otherwise, yes, NBL1 West, you can definitely watch that.
Always great to have a guest join us on the NBL1 show, and the guest this week is from NBL1 East, where he is the leading scorer. His name is Junior Madut from the North Bears, and he joins us now. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here today with you guys.
Great to see you. Now, you are the leading scorer in NBL1 East at the moment, but you've actually been sidelined for a few weeks. So those stats are still looking pretty good, but can you give us a bit of an injury update on how you're going?
Well, it's kind of been up and down. It's a quad injury that got re-injured at training. So just kind of getting back into recovery. Just started getting back on the court maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and feeling better every week. So, should be back maybe within the next 2 weeks, hopefully.
Hopefully, that's going to certainly be a big boost for the team. Now, you're averaging 30 points, 3 rebounds and 3 assists per game, shooting at 45% from the field. Tell us a bit about your form when you were out on the court, and I guess what you were most happy with your game.
I think like I've said in previous instances, I think just the opportunity to play a different role in a different league has been great for me, just to build confidence as a scorer, and just help lead a team as well, like be put in a position where I have to be a leader as well. So in that sense, I think I did well when I was out there, and I'm just happy with that.
You certainly did well, more than well, in round 5 against Penrith. You had 51 points. Can you take us through that night? And how does it feel when you're on? Because when you're on, and you were certainly on that night.
Kind of trying to describe how it felt. It didn't really feel like I had 50 points, to be honest. I think I was just taking it possession by possession, and I felt like I did score a lot, but I didn't realize I had 50 or even close to 50 towards the end of the game.
What was the feeling, I guess, your reaction when you did realise you had a 50-point game? As you mentioned, you didn't really know how many points you'd scored, but when you've had a 50-piece, it must be a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, no, I was just kind of shocked. I never had scored that many points in my life, so I was just like, yeah, this is kind of crazy. But yeah, I was kind of happy we got the win and happy I was able to do that. And yeah, I was surprised, to be honest.
What was your previous highest score before?
I think my highest score before that would have been around 38, close to 40. Never really, yeah. And that was like a very, very long time ago.
It's a fair jump up to 51. Now you've crossed from the Phoenix to the Jack Jumpers. Tell us a bit about the reasons behind the move.
I think it was just it's not really any specific reasons. I think it's just the way the league goes. I guess you just move from team to team. But I think for me, it's just a different environment and a different opportunity, new coaching, and just excited to see what happens over there.
Always good to have a fresh change. What are you looking to take from the NBL1 season into NBL?
I just definitely want to carry the confidence over, carry the leadership over, and just hopefully my scoring and my aggressiveness translates to the NBL game.
NBL1's great, isn't it, for players that are playing in the NBL or WNBL or aspiring to return to those competitions. NBL1 can be such a blank canvas to work on different elements of your game, leadership, which you touched on, and it certainly sounds like that's been the case for you this season with the Bears.
Yeah, 100%. I think the NBL, like I said before, I think the NBL1 is just great for especially guys that want to get up to the NBL level and guys that are coming down from the NBL level. It's just bringing those two different type of dynamics together. It's just fun to see. It's a different type of game. It's certainly fun to watch as well.
The Bears have been playing some fun basketball, a 13-5 record sitting in 3rd place. Is your best basketball capable of winning the title?
Yeah, I think so. I think 100% we're very capable. I think especially with all the stuff we've dealt with this season, injuries, we've lost like a number of guys from the beginning of the season, and we're still playing at a very, very high level, and we're still competing in this competition. So I think we're on track and we're doing well, and we're just taking it game by game.
Well, the Bears will be doing even better when you're back on court. We look forward to seeing you back out there. Thanks for your time today, and good luck to you and Norths for the rest of the NBL1 East campaign.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Well, round 14 has just been completed up north, and there is so much going on with the ladders that we might turn this chat into a weekly ladder update. Jon Guarna, what do you think?
I think we're going to have to at this point. I mean, it's coming down to the pointy end of the season, and every game counts, like we say every week, and none more so than this week. Everything is tightening up. There's movement in and out of the top 8 week in and week out. So I think we're going to have to talk about it regularly, Megan.
Okay, well, let's start with the women. We'll get an update from you on the top 8, and then within that, the top 2.
So the top two at the moment, it's a really tight battle now. Wizards dropped their third game in 4, so they're now sitting at the top of the ladder at 13-3. But right behind them is the Logan Thunder at 12-4, and it is getting tight because also in Rockhampton you have them sitting at 12-5. So with 2 rounds to go, anything can happen. On the weekend, the Wizards lost to their crosstown rival Spartans. It was a 66-56 win for Southern Districts, which moves them into the top 4. They're now, if the finals ended or the finals started today, they'd be hosting a finals game. A good win for Spartans. Ellen Gustafsson had a double-double, 20 points and 13 rebounds. Jess McDowell-White with a near triple-double, 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 12 assists. But it was really the offensive ineptitude, really, of the Wizards. The Spartans held them to 56 points, which is well below their season average. You look at it, Lil Dart led them with 16 points and 3 rebounds. Courtney Woods had a good game, but not the offensive output that they have come to expect. She had 12 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, and 6 steals, and that was a quiet week for her, so it goes to show you the season she's having. But man, the Wizards dropping that gives Logan an opportunity to move within 1 game of the top spot. Logan had a good win on the weekend. They won 74-67 against Darwin. Darwin now drops to 6th spot, and Logan is 1 game out of the top spot after that rough start to the season. Michaela Roof doing Michaela Roof things, 31 points, 21 rebounds, and 5 assists. Chevy Palvast had a double-double, 17 points and 10 rebounds in that one. And, man, it is shaping up to be a tight race to the top of the ladder. But really looking at the top 8, it is very, very fluid. You look at Wizards up the top and Logan at third. That's a game between them. Rockhampton about a game and a half out in third. The Southern District Spartans in 4th place at the moment. They're at 12-5. Southwest plays Logan this coming weekend. They're now in 5th at 11-5. Salties hit a bit of a rough patch on the weekend. They're now in 6th at 11-7. The Gold Coast Rollers are back into the top 8 and 7th. We had a 9-7 record. North Gold Coast, who lost to Gold Coast, now dropped down to the 8th spot at 8-7. But then in 9th, you have Townsville at 9-8. 10th is Cairns at 9-8. Brisbane Capitals are at 11th at 8-8. So those 3 teams currently sitting outside the 8, but anything can happen. Cairns hosts Northside Wizards this weekend. Townsville also gets the Wizards. And Wizards hitting a rough patch at probably the worst time they possibly can. That spot they held comfortably up the top of the ladder is in peril at the moment.
The run home proving to be fascinating in NBL1 North Women's, and from the top of the ladder to, I guess, the other end, but finally some great news for Red City.
Great news for Red City. They have been fighting all season long. They went into the round winless. They pick up their first win of the season, and a great win it was for them. 81-68 over Darwin. Donica Cosby had a huge game, 29 points, 5 rebounds. Lily Rotono had a near triple-double, 12 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. And Red City, after going through 14 rounds without picking up the win, they now pick up their first win of the season. And listen, we know no one likes to go through a season like this, and there are not a lot of moral victories, but that Red City group has been fighting week in and week out. They give themselves 110% every time they're out on the court, and they've had a couple of close calls where they probably could have done a little bit better and maybe picked up a win earlier, but all that hard work is paying off. They picked up their first win. It was a good win against a very, very tough Darwin team, so congratulations to the Red City team for picking up that win. It's a huge one for them.
Yeah, we were rapt to see that. Let's change focus now, where in the men's side of things, there were 2 very close finishes.
Really close finishes, and a couple of they both had finals implications because just like we talked about in the women's side, the men's side is super, super tight. Ipswich had a bit of a scare. They picked up a very, very good win over the Darwin Salties. It's a 106-105 win. At about 7 seconds left, Captain Jason Ralph took a pass from Deng Deng at the top of the key and swished the 3 to give Ipswich that 1-point lead. Darwin had an opportunity to get at it. Malawach got to the rim. He missed the shot. There were 2 offensive rebound putback attempts by the Salties, but Deng Deng came out of nowhere to get a block to seal the win for the Ipswich Force. Not only did Deng Deng have that huge block, but he had a massive game. 30 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Nathan Sobey also had a huge one, 32 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists. And it's a big win for Ipswich because it keeps them in that top 3 spot that they've held for most of the season. Now, Cairns, on the other end, they had a battle on their hands with Rockhampton. Cairns picks up the 91-90 win against Rocky. I know Rocky has struggled a little bit, but man, they are a very, very good team, and this is a great win for Cairns as they secure and hold on and maintain that spot in the top 8. You had Lachlan Anderson. He had a layup with 13 seconds to go. Malcolm Bernard had an opportunity for Rockhampton. He missed it with 5 seconds left. Cairns secured the defensive rebound. The clock ran out, and it was a win for the Marlins. Jonah Antonio, 27 points on 7 of 12 from 3 in that one. Tad Duffelmeyer, 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. And Cairns maintains their spot in the top 8 for this round because there's still more basketball to go.
Well, let's extend that theme and get a top 8 update.
Okay, so get ready for this one because it is really, it's crazy in the women's side, but in the men's it's even crazier because there's more teams still involved. Gold Coast and Logan are pretty comfortable in the top spot. Gold Coast has that half a game lead, and the last round of NBL1 North, it's Gold Coast against Logan. That one, put it in your calendars now. You're not going to want to miss that one. Ipswich is in third at 12-5. Cairns, with the win over Rockhampton, is now up to fourth. So the Marlins would host the finals game if the season ended right now. They're at 10-7, but it's a tough 10-7 because right behind them is Southwestern fifth at 9-7. Then you have Mackay, who split the weekend. They're at 9-8 in sixth. Spartans had a great win on the weekend against Wizards. They're in 7th now at 9-8. The Darwin Salties clinging to a spot in the 8th. They're at 9-9 in 8th. And then you have Rip City in 9th at 8-8. You have Sunshine Coast in 10th at 8-8. You have North Gold Coast in 11th at 7-8. You got the Brisbane Capitals at 7-9 and Northside Wizards at 7-9. Now, Caps and Wizards, mathematically, they could probably still do it if everything breaks their way. We think that you got to get to at least 10 wins to get into the finals. So a couple teams have work to do, but again, still 13 teams for 8 spots left with 2 rounds to go. Man, it is going to be an insane couple weekends.
Oh, it's going to be crazy, and I think the app is going to go into overdrive with everyone checking results, live stats, games, ladder positions as well. So we can't wait for the next couple of weeks. Finally, a hat trick of triple doubles across NBL1 North.
There was a big one on the weekend. The game of the week was Mackay at the Sunshine Coast Phoenix, and under the bright lights, Isaac White delivers yet again for the Meteors. He was awesome in that game. He had 37 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists. He was only 3 steals off a quadruple-double. He had 7 steals in that game as well, and what a win it was for Mackay. They really needed that win to secure their spot. They would have loved to have swept the weekend, but they got beat by Rip City on Sunday in another tight game, but Isaac delivered in that one. He had 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists versus Rip, but that near quadruple-double was unbelievable. In that Spartans win over the Northside Wizards, Fabian Krislovich had the triple-double. And again, you very rarely see the big guy, and you would think it was with blocks, but it's not. He had 10 points, 14 rebounds, and 11 assists. So the big guy doing some big things for the Spartans. And then on the women's side of things, Carly Smith, she's been awesome for Rip City. She always is super versatile, doing a bit of everything. She had a triple-double in the win over Mackay. She had 23 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists in the 92-70 win for Rip City over Mackay. Not the season Rip City would want, but not through the lack of effort of Carly Smith, and a huge triple-double for her in a big win for Rip City.
Some huge performances there in the round just played, and some huge games coming up as we get to the pointy end of NBL1 North. Jon Guarna, you'll be with us next week and every week to keep us up to date on all the action. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, guys. Can't wait to see you next week.
Thanks for joining us on another big show. It's been great to get the latest from all around our conferences. The ladders are really tightening up as we enter into the run home ahead of the NBL1 National Finals, heading over to WA a little bit later on this year. And our guests were fantastic too. Just love hearing the respective stories of our athletes right around the country. Enjoy First Nations Round. I personally can't wait to see some of the amazing jerseys that our players will be wearing in all of the conferences around Australia. Enjoy all of the action, and we'll see you again next week.